Yeah, that easy Monday.
Let me tell you.
Monday.
It wouldn't be a Gabe show without the ukulele.
I have a ukulele. Telling you,
Huh?
double your tips. Double your tips
Double your tips.
overnight.
Well, don't be driving your ukulele with passengers in the car while you're actually driving. Tip of the day.
I can actually
self-driving. Unless you have
Right.
Tesla self-driving, then that's one thing.
That is an advantage. But I can actually see. You can steer with the left hand, and then I can practice. Plucking with the right.
Mm.
But it does.
There you go.
I just want to see if Lyft or Uber has like a canned admonishment email. We've gotten a report. Your account has been flagged. We got a report from one of your passengers that you were playing the ukulele while driving. I can't wait.
I would love, if I ever see that on Reddit or Facebook or any of the pages, I want to know exactly who to talk to about that one. That's you. Oh,
wow. Look at these people joining us.
What is going on? All right. So it is EV Money. So this is an EV show for drivers, EV for Uber and Lyft drivers. It kind of was a think tank between Gabe and then Harry and myself stepped in. And so we're going to be talking some EVs and, our resident EV driver here, Gabe. We have Anderson, Micah, what's up? Andrew, Kevin, Harry's in the chat, I see too. So welcome. It's a new show that we're going to be doing monthly. So it's going to be the second Thursday of the month. And we are going to be talking about EVs. Gabe, you are the EV resident at the RideShare Guy. Yep. I'm kind of the other side of the coin, and you can say the devil's advocate. We might be a little bit.
You've said terribly cruel things about electric vehicles, Chris.
I haven't said terribly cruel. I've said probably what most people are thinking, or the ideas that most people have. So,
absolutely.
It's going to be good to go on both sides of the coin there.
Absolutely.
Being episode 1, we're still kind of feeling the oats of everything. We kind of have a setup of things per se of how it's going to go. We're going to see how it goes, though. Completely, obviously, we're going to tweak it from here, and it's only going to get better when it comes to it. So obviously, if you have any questions about EV, this is the person that you want to get a hold of, Gabe here, and we will definitely have that. So,
Gabe, your heart up.
What's going on?
Yeah. Wow, look at these guys. Look at our audience. Who's the
Cheeky's already got
Cheeky Chop's asking. He's asking. He wants to know who that guy is. That guy there.
You're driving your evil twin around.
Yeah, this is my clone that I created. That's evil Gabe. He sits in the back seat. He's a backseat driver.
Evil Gabe.
Evil. Yes, evil. I am really excited to do this show. This has been a lifelong dream of mine to have. To have like a podcast show kind of thing. And now that I've achieved it, I feel strangely empty and hollow inside, but I'll try to carry on. But I've been writing. The reason I started writing for Harry and for RideShare Guy was because I bought a 2018 Chevy Bolt and started driving it for RideShare. I put 72,000 miles on that before GM recalled every single Bolt it made to put in new batteries because they were bursting into flames or something like that. And 19 out of 100. You don't, but 19 out of 140,000 bolts caught fire. No one was killed. There was not that much property damage, like, my house burned down. Wah. But
I would have to say that would not be something I would want to appreciate. I would be on the phone. I would be on the phone with my lawyer at the time saying, okay, who's responsible for this? Oh, GM is? Okay, let's go after him.
So GM was like, you know what, we're going to get out in front of this, and we're going to recall every single Bolt ever made, and we're going to replace 288 cells in every car, and they replaced millions and millions of cells and paid for all of it, and they're still replacing batteries. And I want to talk about that later in the show about these bolts with new batteries, right? But
Okay.
I've been writing about electric vehicles since 2009 when I tested my first electric vehicle for a motorcycle website, and um, I just, my dream was like to have an electric car. I'm like, this is going to be great when I can afford one. And, I got the Bolt, and then GM bought that Bolt back, and I bought a Tesla, and then I sold the Tesla for a profit and bought another Bolt. And I'm all in on the EV thing, but I do want to make it clear to our audience because, I'm not just a fanboy. I don't want to be a fanboy. I want to present electric vehicles as like a rational alternative to driving a gasoline powered vehicle. And in that vein, I want to make it clear that it doesn't work for everybody. That you really have to be careful about your situation and your driving style and your market. So you got to know your market, and kind of that means that this is going to be a great show for Show Me the Money Club members, because if you're a Show Me the Money Club member, you know exactly what your expenses are to the penny per mile.
You should, but let's be real. Most drivers don't know that.
Most drivers have no idea. They're just like, ooh, $12 to drive for 30 minutes. What a great deal. And they just jump on that ride and they go drive, and they put 1,000 miles on their car a week, 2,000 miles on their car a week, burning up gas, putting hundreds of pounds of CO2 into the atmosphere to help Florida become completely submerged, which I support.
Well, you know what? I don't mind. I like to feed the flowers and the plants.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to eat. We need the farms to get their CO intake, so then
That's true.
we can get more oxygen.
It's true. There's a tremendous problem with plants not getting enough CO2, so it's good.
I know we need to feed them more. And I'm on the flip side of that. So you're an EV fanboy. Uber MVD does ask though if it's going to be a full EV emphasis. There's going to be hybrid in there. Don't worry. Because it's just different technology. I'm sure we'll also get into hydrogen too when it comes down to it. So there's a lot of things, but I'm kind of the counterpoint of that. EVs are cool in my opinion. I think they're up and coming for several different aspects. Tesla, obviously, I would be a fanboy of Tesla if I had one. I don't. And, I mean, I'm not going to reinvest into another car that's going to be an EV. I'm going to stick with the car that I have. The cars that I have that are ICE, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy.
Ice, baby.
I have a Honda Pilot, which is a 22 Honda Pilot I just bought.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
It's nice. It's great for the kids, great space. It's actually got the third row. So if there's any more kids that decide to come, I don't know how that'll happen, but if they decide to come, then we got a spot.
Do you already have
you
have 11 kids right now, right? Was it 11 or 16? You have 2.
Oh, I have 2. I'm sticking with 2 right now.
Really?
Maybe 3. I don't know. I'm not like Tony, driven dad over there.
Yeah.
Where he's got a baby in the oven. So
keep cranking them out, man.
Yeah. I'm not like that, but that's that. And then my other car is my other car is a turboed, so it's a it's a 2006 Mitsubishi Lancer Evo.
That's your fun car.
It's turboed. That's a fun car, and it's fast.
Do you ever Uber with it?
No, I can't Uber in it anymore.
It's too old because it's a 6.
Too old.
It's an 06.
It's too old, but it's better than I bet 90. I would say it's better than 90 to 95% of cars on the road.
Sure, in terms of reliability and
in general, it's I keep that thing in mint condition. Granted, it's a 2006, but that thing's in mint condition. It's got leather Ricardo seats.
Oh yeah.
And it's
So
but I wouldn't drive. I wouldn't drive it for it.
You're an enthusiast. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun.
That's cool. Do you autocross it? Have you done that?
No, I haven't. I'll take it. I'll take it on the highway and do some stuff and do a little drifting maybe here or there. But Nothing sanctioned.
Take an off ramp at 110. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah,
I plead the fifth
those
because anybody who's watching,
man. I'm telling you, like if you like driving that, because what's the horsepower output for the Evo? Because it's a turbo 4-cylinder, right, or 6?
yeah, yeah. It's an i4 with turbo, but
In
I've done some work to it. Got a tune, got
So it's about
quite a bit
300.
into the engine. So, out of the gate, stock, it's 286 at
Okay,
I think it's at the crank. At the wheel, it's less. But mine at the wheel is about 330.
you've
So
dynoed it. Yeah,
yeah.
nice,
So it's
nice.
up a little higher.
Oh,
And
what about torque?
torque, it's 396 at the
Wow,
wheel
at the
that I got.
wheel.
So
Nice.
I mean, if I go against the Tesla will win. But you
Wow.
know what? You can't take away the stick shift, the enjoy, and all that good stuff. So
Wow, look, Anderson Theodore asked me if I offer consulting services.
the office hours are open right now.
Yeah, sure.
So
Sure, Anderson. Actually, send an email to Harry at therideshareguy.com and ask him about it. I don't want to solicit business on Harry's thing, right? That's no good. Although, um,
well, I don't know. We'll have to have Harry on. He's got a Tesla.
okay,
Maybe we'll settle the debate.
right.
Although I don't know if you've heard this or not yet. I was hoping that this would have been done by now, but it's not. Um, Harry had a little problem with this Tesla.
Hmm. That's
I
common.
don't know if you heard, huh?
It's common.
No, yeah. No,
Oh,
this is crazy. It was sitting out in the driveway, and all of a sudden the windshield just cracked. Big giant crack along the windshield
wow.
randomly.
Huh.
His dash cam picked it up. Literally,
Oh,
there was nothing going on around.
oh,
I don't know, the heat of the sun. The
yeah.
car did not want to give enough, so
Mm,
it cracked right up the center
huh.
and off to the side.
That can
Absolutely crazy.
that can happen with any car. You know, you get a rock chip and you don't notice it, and then it just cracks like days later. That's a thing.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way you look at it, it looked like there probably was a little stone chip or something.
Mm.
It didn't, go through or
I
didn't
want to see that.
have a
I want to
little
see that.
hairline fracture.
I want to
But
see that in slow motion, like ultra slow motion. Watch the crack, like slowly, like that'd be cool.
uh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got the dash cam footage. It was real quick. It just went crack, 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 and then it was done. So it was like, oh, okay. So he's got to get his insurance involved on that. But yeah, there's actually a short coming out on the channel soon. I was hoping
Nice.
it would be ready already, but it wasn't. So that would have
Cracking up.
been a fun little topic to say. Our Teslas letting their cars go up when it comes to the sun.
Right.
Had a little issue there.
At least it's not the roof. That would be
Oh
spendy.
God.
One
Oh
of those
God, I can
roofs.
only imagine.
Because you
Buffalo, go Bills.
can't call auto glass for that. I'm surprised. Like here in Oakland, car break-ins are just rampant. Like if you have a Tesla, there's someone's going to break that back window. Just like no question.
Hmm.
And just thank God they don't go in through the roof.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like
Holy crap.
Spider-Man. Yeah, but instead they break that little tiny triangular back window on the Teslas, and then they reach in and then they flip the seat down to see if there's anything in the trunk. So
Oof.
that's your first pro tip of the day. Any car, if you're parked in an urban area, don't don't make it look like you're hiding anything in that car. Just don't.
Yep.
They will break your window because they don't care.
What are you talking
Uh,
about? I've seen them in San Francisco break out the back window while they're driving to grab the camera equipment
yeah,
out.
well, that's
Insane.
yeah,
That's
that's
insane.
it's
But either
insane.
way,
But
either way.
no law enforcement whatsoever can work both ways.
Yeah, right.
So, it's
So
amazing how
you
much time
either
you save not stopping for stoplights. It's really,
oh, I can
really,
imagine.
yeah,
But
it
but
really,
the only
really
problem
bumps
is
your
what
rides per hour. I'll tell you.
yeah, yeah, I would assume, but the only problem is you're gonna get that little notification from Uber that says
Oh
your
yeah.
rider has been
Oh yeah.
telling you that you've
Yes.
been running red lights, so now you're deactivated. Good luck.
Oh well. take a while.
One day, Asami Crypto said leaking is a big problem during rainy days with the Tesla. No,
Big problem, huh? Okay, all right. I mean, I went through a rainy season and never had any leaks. I had an old Datsun though. That was a different story. But
oh, I had an Acura CL that was my first car,
mm,
and got into a little fender bender. The whole rear quarter panel on the side got crushed in from a fucking deer that ran right into it. Like literally, this deer was stupid, ran right into
well,
this side of my car,
that deer was stupid
and
as opposed to all the other brilliant, intelligent Nobel Prize laureate deer that are out there.
the ones that don't run into the side of your car, yes, absolutely.
They all do that.
So I had to take it in, got it fixed, and then I've had a horrible problem whenever there was any type of rain, because they never resealed the quarter panel onto the car. So that rear tire would kick the rain up
Oh,
into the back trunk of the car. I had to like MacGyver my way into sealing that off. And even when I did it, it still didn't. There would be like some sort of a little bit of condensation into it, which sucked because I had a whole audio system in there too.
oh man.
So it was a pain, but that's another story for another channel for another topic,
All
not
right.
the EVs. So yeah,
Yeah.
where do you want to start, my friend?
Well,
What's your
we
show?
we talked about what our show is for, I guess,
Yep.
and then I do want people to know about our EV driver Facebook group. That's kind of
Link is going to be in the description there. So if you want to, first off, if you're somebody who's thinking about being an EV driver, if you are an EV driver, um, or new, old, you went from EV to ICE, hey, this EV group is still for you. Link is going to be in the in the description, and you can check it out. Join. Gabe will let you in. Don't worry.
yep.
He
Yeah,
keeps it pretty
it's
open
right.
ship.
Well, right now it's a public group, but we're going to move to private because the spam bots are rampant. But
Ah.
if you do want to tell the world about your friend on Instagram who can get you reactivated, um, then this is our group is the place to be.
Well,
Um,
that happens all over. That happens even in the comments in the RSG chats. Not in the live chats, which is fine. We're pretty good with that. But
I don't know
yeah,
what's up
you'll
with those
wake up.
guys. Like, how do they make money off of that? Like what? Like
They
you
charge. What they say is they'll get your account reactivated,
No,
and
but
you just need
you
to
go to their
pay
Instagram page and
$20.
then there's a phone number and then you call the phone number and then there's no answer. And it's like it's some kind of scam to see what phone number, like they're just mining phone numbers, active phone numbers, and then you get a call from a telemarketer. I think that's the whole scam.
It could be if there's somebody on the other, or
They're
you call
they're
during their
just
downtime.
number farmers.
It could be. I mean, they're getting their
Oh,
numbers plenty other ways though too. So
oh, look, Cheeky Chops. Cheeky Chops is being very cheeky. He's a Bills fan,
yep.
which I'm sorry. And then
Oh, hey.
I
Them
can't,
them be fighting words around
okay,
these
why?
parts. Them be
It's a
fighting words
football,
around
right?
these
Yeah.
parts.
Oh, look, here's Sergio's checking in.
What's up, Serge?
Hey, and
It's a little weird not having Serge on the chat, or I mean, in the actual stream as well too. He's in the chat.
Cheeky Chops there is put a snarky little comment there. I'll buy an EV when they cost $30,000 less, and Uber pays me 30 times more. Well, if Uber paid me 30 times more, I wouldn't even buy an EV. I would just do 4 rides a day.
I know, right? You know what? Here's my deal. I'll buy an EV if the
Okay.
Washington model for Uber comes to the entire country.
Oh
And
yeah, where you get paid per mile.
I'm getting a dollar like 42 a
Yeah.
mile and 37 cents a minute, where I don't care because I'm happy there. And then they can pay me another dollar incentive that I'm actually getting the full dollar on,
Yeah.
not some shaving that's going on where it could be 20 cents, it could be 38 cents, it could be a full dollar that I'm getting shaved on. But good little Uber algorithm
They can
says, "Ooh,
shave all they
we're,
want.
we're gonna maneuver it a little bit, and we're gonna still throw that extra dollar incentive, but you're not gonna know that you're getting screwed out of it."
Yeah. We uh Show Me the Money Club has been covering the Uber shaving pretty
Oh yeah.
heavily. I don't know if we need to go over it here, but I guess
I
for
think
those.
I think the EV shaving we should talk about, because that will affect any EV driver who is driving Uber and Lyft. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say Lyft, because Lyft does theirs differently. They do the per ride count for the extra amount, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about that. You're getting your bonus.
But it's only in California.
It's only in California, which needs to come to the rest of the country.
But it won't,
when it comes to
there's state, unless there's other states start passing similar zero emissions requirement laws as California did.
Yeah, well, California is its own beast, but
we're our own thing.
When it comes to Uber is doing that across the board. So they're giving that extra $1 EV incentive for every trip that you take in an EV, or so they say. So the max is up to $4,000 annually. So that could be a nice little extra bonus there when you add up your costs that you're saving, like you're charging versus putting in gas, your maintenance that you have to readjust for, because Teslas and other EVs don't really have as much maintenance costs as an ICE powered counterpart, but you still got to worry about tires and a couple other things there. But either way, they're giving you an extra. Yeah, they're giving you an extra $4,000 up to, or so they claim. But I was in Chicago in May and met up with 4 different drivers in the area to basically do our sit down tests, where we see what rides are coming in and what driver is getting paid more, and we're trying to see if there's any differences between iPhones or Androids or cherry pickers or ants. All the different ones we try to figure out. So we've done the test twice before, but the third test that we did, basically Uber looked like they fixed part of their thing, and that was all the drivers that were ICE powered cars were getting pretty much the same for the most part. There were a couple of times where it wasn't the exact same, but for the most part, it was the same. So each trip that would come in that was the exact same trip to each phone would be the same costs. So it might be, let's say, $9.28 to go somewhere. And the EV driver that he owned his Tesla, I think it was I can't remember if it was a Model 3 or a Y. I can't remember off the top of my head, but either way, it doesn't matter. It's an EV. And he was continually getting 80 cents difference. So that $9.28 that everybody else was getting, this driver, the Tesla owner, was getting offers that should have been $10.28. But no, he was getting $10.08. So what ended up happening was they were going in and they were shaving the algorithm and the base fare. So basically, let's say those ICE powered vehicles would take a fare, come up base fare $9.28. You get paid $9.28. If there was a tip, all that good stuff, it was included. But the EV driver, what was happening was it would show the base fare plus the $1 EV incentive, and then it would show the total. So what they were doing is they were going back in and readjusting the base fare. So it would show $9.08 on the base fare, $1 EV incentive, and then $10.08 on the total cost that the driver would get, when in fact the ICE power counterpart was getting $9.28. So it looked like they were only getting it looked like they were getting a full dollar, when in fact that particular driver was getting 80 cents. And we've got other screenshots from people that were looking to be, the whole dollar. In fact, there was one that was a penny less. So the Tesla owner was actually getting a penny less than the ICE powered counterpart that was there. So, we broke that story. We broke what was going on. And we started talking to a couple news outlets to, take it further, as what Sergio had done with the Prop 22 money. And so I'm assuming that maybe somebody in the news industry was, poking their head around, calling up Uber. And then a little bit later, a couple days later, I think it was a day or two actually, we started seeing these EV incentive bonus payouts that were miscalculated and paid out. The driver in Chicago, I talked to him. He said he got a payout. It was $40. Another driver that reached out to Sergio was like $1,800 or something like that. So it's absolutely crazy when it came down to it. So it's, what are they doing there? And you don't know that you're not getting that full dollar unless you do a test like that. So if you're driving an EV, or if you're thinking about an EV, get together with another driver or 2 drivers, run your apps, let them run, just turn them on, go grab some coffee, go
Not
grab
non
something to
EV
eat.
drivers, by the way, right?
If you have an EV.
Mhm.
If you don't have an EV, but you're
Yeah.
looking at one,
Right.
grab somebody with an EV. Just make
Nope.
sure there's somebody who's
Right.
got an EV
Yeah,
in
one
the area.
EV and then a couple ICE cars, or yeah.
Yeah, or 2 EVs, 2 ICE, whatever it is. The
Mhm.
reason why is you wanna make sure that the ICE-powered cars are getting the same cost, because let's say if one driver is getting 10, 12, the other driver is getting $12, you're seeing a $2 discrepancy there, so there could be a lot of other factors, but basically it comes back to algorithmic wage discrimination, which we've talked about too, and that's what really spawned the original, the 2 brothers that were, in Chicago that sent us their video, of these. That's really where it kicked off, and it does look like did get tightened up. It does look like that dollar EV incentive is correct now. But again, the only way you're going to find out is if you test. So,
But they'll
meet
just
up with a couple other drivers in your area, test, turn on your apps, go grab something to eat, trade secrets, trade some fun, have a good time, network, and see what's coming in. Send it to Sergio, myself. We'll be able to test it, and we'll also see what's going on the EV Money Show. Let you know exactly what's going on. So, yeah, definitely something that you want to um, know what's going on.
Right on. Yeah, and that's definitely something, and it's really important that we're always vigilant, and because they'll just find something else to screw us over on, because that's their business model, is like break the law, steal from people, be perpetrate fraud, try to rip people off, because in my opinion, Uber and Lyft don't have a sustainable business model, and they're just trying to keep their little boats afloat until they can cash out their stock, and leave it with the next guy, which used to be called a Ponzi scheme, but now it's tech. Now it's just called tech.
Now,
Anyway,
now it's just the way the world has
yeah,
worked with
it's this modern
low
business.
interest
Yeah,
rates for quite a
yeah.
while.
Make
But
make a good product and then sell it for a profit. That's so old fashioned.
well, who knows? Maybe Lyft might not be there soon. So
Right, right.
I don't, right, Serge? Um,
Okay.
what?
Hey,
Yeah,
what should we get into some news? The
yeah.
EV news. I like to kind of. One of my last gigs was writing a newsletter, a weekly newsletter. So I had all these news stories that I've been following, and so if anyone wants to, if you're just catch up on the EV news, new product stuff that's going on. Let's see. Ford is racing an electric van, their super van at Pikes Peak, and that's a
You got that
badass.
pick.
Yeah. Oh, are we gonna add this? Can we add it? Oop, whoop. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So, right, that's a Transit. That's their Transit Connect minivan set up for racing, and 2,000
Man,
horsepower is what that is pumping out.
I like the intercooler in there.
Hmm. Big, right? That's probably for battery cooling, right, or
Yeah,
engine motor
I mean, you're
cooling.
you're probably throwing out that type of heat. Absolutely.
Oh, you got four. You got four motors there. 500 horsepower motors. It's crazy. Yeah, electric vehicles, by the way, have held the record at Pikes Peak for years now.
Hmm.
You can't touch them because, for one thing, you're going up 10, 11, 12,000 feet, and you're not going to be able to set up a gasoline car to make that kind of power consistently all the way up, where an electric vehicle doesn't need any oxygen at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it just needs the power.
and then
More
also,
power.
yeah, EVs are going to dominate racing as long as their range requirements, as long as they're making their range requirements, because for racing cars or motorcycles or any kind of motorized vehicle, it's all about tuning, and it's so easy to tune electric motors. You just a few, you don't have to change camshafts or do valves or port
Mhm.
heads or worry about fuel injection or any of that stuff. It's just a few lines of code, and you get the more power or less power or whatever kind of power curve you need.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it's
yeah, it's definitely a much different experience
right,
going on an EV versus
right.
ICE.
I won't even ask what you spent getting 60 extra horsepower out of your Lancer, but for an EV, Like all you got to do is just reprogram it.
Yeah. Well, it's still fun. I
It's
mean,
still
you
fun.
can't screw around. I mean, it's got 5 gears, so you're going through the gears,
Right.
and you get up to speed and all that fun jazz.
It's
If
fun.
if you're
It's
getting
fun.
close to red line in 5th gear, you're going like
Mhm.
170 miles an hour. So
Yeah. Well, I
can't
mean,
go wrong there. You're going through the
nice.
gear shifts.
Wow.
It's not the same like on an EV where you just hit the pedal and
You
you
just go.
go.
It's true. It's true.
gears or anything there.
The first time I went to an electric motorcycle race, I shushed the people behind me in the grandstands because they were talking so loud. I couldn't hear the race bikes.
Mew, mew,
So,
mew.
the next thing I want to talk about is charging. Charging is a big deal for Uber and Lyft EV drivers, right? Because
Uh,
a lot of drivers, they need to recharge once or twice during their shift, and that means you're going to use fast charging. And we'll cover charging more in depth, but there's a difference between the first question you're going to get if you're an EV driver. Your passenger's going to get in and be like, "Oh, I've never ridden an EV before. Blah blah blah. Where do you charge it?" And the answer is, how fast do you want to charge it? So if
I'd be
you can
like, how
charge at
fast do you
home,
talk?
right? You can charge at home, in the garage with just a 110 outlet or a 240 outlet, or you can take it to a Tesla supercharger or to a DC fast charger, and it'll charge much faster. And that depends on the vehicle. That Kia right there, it can add 200 miles of range in like 15 minutes. It's incredibly fast charging. And
Oh, I hope they have YouTube in the car so you can at least watch something during that time.
oh, they've got YouTube. Oh, the Kia has this whole the key, not the EV6, but the Ionic 5. If you get the like super comfort package, it's the seats recline almost all the way flat, and then they play ambient beach. They have a selection of different ambient noises. You can have like beach sounds or a cafe, like gentle conversation in a cafe, or ambient music.
That's where you could run your Uber test.
That's where exactly.
That's
Well, you
that's
fall
where you can see
asleep.
if you're getting screwed out of the dollar incentive or not.
Oh man, I just fall asleep. But Tesla, interestingly enough, in order for Tesla to collect federal money um, for their EV network, for their charging network, they have to open up their network to non-Tesla brands. So Tesla,
Mhm.
this is a picture of a Kia charging at a Tesla, and that's on a car website. Um, there's a good story about it. But some of the Tesla superchargers, including some in upstate New York near you, are equipped with what's called their Magic Dock. And that actually
Mhm.
allows you to plug the Tesla supercharger into a standard DC fast charger port. So you can actually charge at the Tesla.
Now, aren't more EV manufacturers going with the Tesla plug?
Yes. Yeah. So
So,
not, I mean, almost all of them. I mean, I think that is going to be the new standard for North America. In Europe, it's the DCFC, the big clunky thing with a really thick, heavy cable. That is
yeah.
mandated by the EU government. So even Teslas use that in Europe. But over
Mm.
here, the Tesla renamed their charging adapter the North American Charging Standard, and now we have word from, man, so many manufacturers: Rivian, Mercedes, Volvo, Polestar, GM, and Ford are all on board with what they're calling the NACS. I don't know if you say NACS, but and then also the state of Texas wants to actually require the that charging stations are compatible with the NACS. And Electrify America, on their new 800-volt charging systems, rechargers, are going to have the NACS connectors. And then the Society of Automotive Engineers, which is the group of engineers that actually write standards for all kinds of things automotive, is going to write a standard for the North American charging standard. So to make it an actual real standardized thing, so the manufacturers can get together and actually all make sure that it's totally compatible backwards and forwards. And that is going to
Mhm.
improve the charging experience for everybody. Because right now, there isn't an EV owner in America who hasn't had a horrible experience with Electrify America or EVgo or Charge Plus or all the other networks. They are just not as seamless and easy to use as the Tesla networks. They're honestly
Mhm.
kind of awful. I like sometimes you spend more time getting the charger to work than you do actually sitting at the charger. I met a
Mhm.
guy just and it's just
Oh boy.
ridiculous how inefficient and amateurish these companies can be. It's amazing. There'll be chargers that are broken for months that won't work, and um,
And that's why people don't want to get them.
and that's why people don't want to get an EV because they're worried. Now, I would make the argument that you don't necessarily need to charge away from your house, and
I would say, I mean, I would say probably for the average person, but for Uber and Lyft, you're definitely
true.
going to want to drive, or
Well,
you're going to need to kind of supercharge versus
this
not.
is why go back to Show Me the Money Club and set up a spreadsheet and outline all your expenses. Figure out what you're gonna what charging's gonna or what it's gonna cost you to have an EV, what you're paying to drive your current vehicle, and then also look at your trip, look at your logbook, look at how many miles you've been driving a shift for the last however long you've been driving. When I look at my mileage logs, I can tell you I've only driven more than 300 miles maybe 10 times in as many years. Like,
Hmm.
and if I'm fully charged with my Chevy Bolt, I can go 250 miles and then I can spend, even though the Chevy Bolt is one of the slowest charging cars on the market, um, it can still add 50 miles in, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, if
Hmm.
not less, and 100 miles in 30 minutes. So it's not like you're going to spend all this time charging. And some people have trouble with the chargers, or they just had one experience charging. Um, but most of the drivers that are on our Facebook group that have been driving see exactly like this. Um, they're having such a good experience. They charge at home. You don't have to worry about filling your car up with gas. You just go get in your car and it's fully charged. I My favorite analogy, Chris, is it's like you live in a gas station from the 1960s because
Hmm.
gas costs you 50 cents a gallon and your car is like magically filled every morning and then you just go drive. And but there are a lot of drivers that it's just impossible for them to drive less than 400 or 500 miles a day, I guess. um, that just seems extreme to me, but I've really only driven here in the San Francisco Bay Area, where i will I get just as many calls from here in my house as if I drove 2 miles to downtown or whatever. So I don't really need to go anywhere before I start working. But if you have to
Hmm.
commute 50 or 60 miles before you start working, the EV might not be a good solution for you.
Yeah. I think it just comes down to, actually taking the time and putting a little thought into things and saying, is this going to be something that works for me or doesn't? I'll
Now,
say on
now I
if
don't
you're
like to wait. Hang on. Sorry. I don't like to respond to trolls. Don't believe in feeding them. But but what I do say to trolls who say EVs won't work for Uber, EVs can't work. Well, you're right. They don't work for you, right? They don't work for you, but they've been working great for me.
Mhm.
I've saved like thousands of dollars in buying gas. Um, so uh, you have to look very carefully at your own situation. On the other extreme, like, don't tell someone to go buy a $60,000 Tesla to do rideshare with it. That's crazy. Now, if you want to have a nice car that you'll also do rideshare with, because a lot of people just like having a nice car, the Tesla's going to work great. But definitely don't buy it just for that. So there's definitely two sides to it.
Yeah, no, Cheeky's not a troll.
I didn't say Cheeky was a troll.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I think maybe
A lot of the people
he's
in here
projecting.
are pretty good, but no, I mean, honestly, if you're driving full time and you're in the right area, an EV will probably likely be a better option for you as long as you can get the right price, you get the right deal or anything like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Over gas powered.
Yeah,
Um,
And if we have
You
time
just got to
today,
take you literally have to take the time, sit down, see how much you're spending, and how much you're making, what your expenses are when it comes to your costs. You need to know all of that information, and then you can actually look down and see how much you could potentially save. Hell, you could even have your car payment made just from switching from ICE to EV, when it comes to it, depending on how much you're driving. So I'm not
it's
I'm
true.
not against that. I mean, parts of it are true. I just the parts that I don't like is, some of it being forced on. So like the state of California trying to force people into being EV when might not necessarily be the end all be all, when it comes to, getting around in mobility. But if you
Well,
couple
I
it
don't know if
with
we're at
ICE,
the
if you couple it with
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I
yeah,
was
if it's things where you're coupling it together,
mhm.
like with ICE, if you start bringing in hydrogen, if you can, miniaturize nuclear, like all of these can work together, to make it better all around. So
Mhm.
that's where I have the issue that lies, because yeah, some people it just doesn't make sense. Some people it won't work and it won't
Yeah.
be well, for them, whether they drive, Uber and Lyft or not. So
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
yeah, Bear Claw's there. He's pointing out that, hey, my hybrid is cheaper to operate than some electric
Mhm.
vehicles. And he's right, but it depends on where you are. Bear Claws might not live in California where gas is right around $5 a gallon. Um, so, but if you live somewhere where gas is really cheap, electricity is also going to be really cheap. So that's also something to consider. But yeah, if it's not going to make sense for you economically to drive an EV, you should not drive an EV. But a little pushback against the idea that it's being forced on us, I would say that there's a lot more carrot than stick. Federal government is offering big cash incentives or tax incentives, and there's all kinds of other incentive and rebate programs to encourage people to buy electric vehicles. But I don't see where it's a requirement as yet. If the new EPA fuel economy rules are upheld by the Supreme Court, which I doubt, that are basically requiring the car companies to only build electric vehicles after 2030 or something like that, then that's another story. But I don't think we're quite there yet. If you want to buy a gasoline car, even in California, there's a billion available. In fact, there's more EVs available on dealer lots now than gasoline cars at some dealerships.
Yeah, I don't I
So,
mean, like, I think California has what, 2040? They're saying that there won't be any gas-powered cars sales again. So
35,
that's where I'm talking.
Thir-
So 35, so
35,
there you go.
35.
That's what I'm talking about, where it's the forced. It's like,
Well,
no, it shouldn't be, it
we'll
should be
see.
worked in conjunction with each other.
Well,
Um,
this we are even California is a democracy, and I think that if by the year 235, by the year 2035, some people disagree. By the year 2035, if if EVs are still not like so much better and cheaper in every way than gasoline cars, then the laws will be amended, and people will be able to buy gasoline cars again. It's also not going to require you to like turn in your gasoline car and have it be crushed. It's also not going to prevent you from bringing in a car from another state and registering it in California. So, I think you'll be able to. I don't think
I
it's
don't
going
know.
to limit individual choice that much.
Well, if you're saying, "Hey, we're gonna outlaw gas-powered sales in 2035, and you
Hmm.
have to buy electric," then yeah,
New,
that is.
yeah,
Um,
new, yeah. It's going to limit people's opportunity to
well,
purchase a new
but
gasoline powered car in
that's just
California.
yeah, but the thing is, that's the stepping stone to say, "Well, we're not gonna register any gas-powered cars anymore after that." So that
Uh,
could be by, say, 2040, they're not registering any gas-powered cars, even though you can go around and still get them.
right, but
So
then
that,
you're
I mean,
but then you're starting to bump into constitutional issues where you're depriving
it
people of property without
and
due
that
process.
stopped. And that
And
stopped legislation already? I mean, I can
well,
tell you a bunch that it
constitutional
would be
issues.
considered
Well,
unconstitutional.
yeah. Well, it has to go to the Supreme Court. Something is unconstitutional when the U.S. Supreme Court says this is unconstitutional. Um,
Oh, yeah, but
until then,
if
you don't
it
know.
goes there,
Yeah, but
yeah, if it goes
we
there,
have a Well, I mean, we have a process. We have a process. If it doesn't go there, then that's because the Supreme Court says we don't see a constitutional issue, and we kick it back to the state court.
Yeah.
And
I still I still
right
think
now we have the most conservative Supreme Court that we've had for decades. So I would say there'll be a lot of deference towards individual liberties for certain types of individual liberties, I should say. And certainly when it comes to guns and cars, like I think you can be you can relax about keeping the rights to have those things.
I don't know. Let's see what California tries to do, because we've seen a couple of things that they've done
Well,
over the years. And
California can try anything it wants,
yep.
and if it's not constitutional, they can't do it. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, like I
Uh,
said, I mean, I have nothing against them. I just don't think a forced hand
no,
should be played,
no, I
especially
don't think.
in the
No,
event.
I agree. It should be a better alternative, unless you know that you're going to lead people better with carrots than sticks, and
Mhm.
all I've seen in place so far, like as of July 2023, what's been getting people to buy electric vehicles has been carrots, government carrots, and also just the excellence of the products themselves.
Yeah, but what happens if the carrots aren't there and they go away?
I don't know,
Then
man.
what?
Like what I don't know what happens if if you're walking down the street and a piano falls on you, like you're Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's apples to oranges, man.
I mean, yeah, but the point is that you can make a slippery slope argument all you want, um, but it's still a logical fallacy. Like, oh, this could lead to something even worse, but we're not talking about the even worse. We're just talking about what it is right now. Let's worry about the even worse when we're kind of faced with that.
Yeah, but you want to also think about those things before they
Sure.
become problems, so you can avoid them altogether.
True.
So
True.
that's the big thing right there. I mean, like I said, I have nothing against EVs. I think they're great. I think, if you can get one, then, if it makes sense to you, if it's good for you, go ahead and get one. As long as you're eligible to. Like, don't go dire if you can't. But what I'm saying is, like, okay, well, yeah, you might have a carrot now, but what
Yeah.
happens in 8 years? Are you going to still have those same carrots?
You will
Are
see.
these companies going
Yeah.
to be offset with these government programs? They're going to come in and try to get you to switch to an EV, or are they going to go belly up? And now there goes that type of money that you could have had that would have gone. I mean, looking at on Tesla's site right now,
Hmm.
a Model 3 after these incentives could be $32,000.
It's a good deal,
So
man.
what happens if that goes away? That brings it up to
Well,
40,000,
okay.
42,000
And
more.
you know what happened? Can I tell you that that last summer, 1 year ago exactly, I sold my 2022 Tesla Model 3 that I paid $40,000 for. I sold it to a Acura dealer for $51,000. And
Nice.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's dependent on the market, and they go up in price, they go down in price. Um, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, either way, hey, for those who want to say that it's not we're not being political.
No,
Politics do have a driving force in it, because if
yeah, but
your
unfortunately,
legislation.
politics. Yeah, I don't want to talk about politics either because there's no better way to get people mad at you. Um, but however, the word policy is built into politics, and policy has been really important in getting EVs into the hands of consumers, and that's why we're here. So we do have to talk about government and science and some other controversial topics, but hopefully, Chris and I can talk about them in a really I don't know, non-threatening, non-divisive way where we just talk about facts and say, well, this is, these are the facts. Like one commenter's like, oh, well, California doesn't follow the Constitution. Well, yeah, they do. The state of California follows the Constitution because if the state of California doesn't follow the Constitution and it goes to the Supreme Court, then those laws are reversed, and that has happened many, 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 many times in California. So California does follow the Constitution. Do California legislators follow the Constitution? They think they do when they pass the laws. They have their lawyers look at the laws, and they're like, well, this will pass constitutional muster, and then it goes, and then laws are always challenged by various groups, interest groups, and then they go up the chain of command up to the Supreme Court, and if they're not constitutional, they're not constitutional. Now, if you, Driven Dad or Ramon Figueroa, thank you very much for joining us. If you guys don't think that those things are constitutional, that's your opinion, and all due respect, but your opinion isn't as important as the 9 men and women that sit on the Supreme Court. So that's why we have to talk about politics, but we can do it as little as possible, I guess.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, it's still going to dictate a lot of things within the EV atmosphere
Sure.
altogether. So,
Yeah.
it's going to come up in parts of conversation. Don't like it? No, I don't know what to tell you, but we're going to have, sometimes some differences of opinion talking about it. And, that's the whole point too, is to see what else could be going on. Yes, it's an EV show. And yes, if you want to say I'm an EV hater, great, but you don't know me, and you can pretend all you want. You can put words in my mouth, but you're never going to be able to speak for me. So nice try. With that being said, I don't hate EVs. I just think they're part of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And,
and this idea that that we can mitigate the climate crisis that the world is having right now through just individual choice, which is something that the kind of left-wing environmental movement of the 1960s and 70s advocated, like, oh, if we all recycle and like have macrame and hemp and like eat vegetarian and make these individual decisions, well, that'll solve all our problems. But it's not that easy, because individual choice only adds up to so much.
Well, either way, let's talk about a couple of the incentives that are happening right now, while you can still get them.
Yeah. So one thing, again, not veering into politics, but the Biden administration's Inflation Reduction Act has, whatever you think of that name. One thing it did was create tax incentives for electric vehicles, but those tax incentives are only available to electric vehicles that are made in the United States with a certain percentage of allowable materials and components in the batteries. So there's a $7,500 tax credit that's available, if the car is built in North America and the battery is at least 50 or 60% materials from either North America or from countries that have what the legislation refers to as a free trade agreement with the United States, so not China. So that excluded a lot of vehicles from being eligible for this rebate, including Kia and Hyundai's vehicles. Now, Kia and Hyundai are building EV factories in the United States, but until those factories come online, they've been reducing the pricing of their cars by doing dealer incentives for a couple months now. So for instance, the Ioniq 6, the EV6, and also the Ioniq 5, all those cars are getting various amounts of cash back, which makes them pretty good deals. That Ioniq 6, this is called their eGMP platform. Those cars are built on, and it's an outstanding platform. It charges as fast as the Porsche Taycan does, which is a $90,000 car, but these cars start at $42,000. So these things, and I did it. I actually, if you guys want to go onto the RideShareGuy.com and look for my Kia EV6 review, I've got video of me plugging in my EV6, the test car that I had, and in exactly, I can't remember, I added 70 miles of range in like 3.5 minutes. It was just unbelievable how fast that was.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, and it'll go from about 10% to 80% in 18 minutes. And you can go on YouTube and you can see videos of people testing that charging speed, and that's a real thing. That's if you find a EV charger that works at 350 kilowatts, but you might not actually find that. You have to find one in your area. But I mean, that's a car like, okay, it started out with 300 miles of range. And these cars are heat pump equipped so that they're better in cold weather than other EVs. That's a question we had there in the comments. Aren't EVs challenged in cold weather? Yes, absolutely. My Chevy Bolt, the range is reduced 30-40%, even in what we consider cold weather here in the San Francisco Bay Area, which never gets below 40 degrees ever. And even then, I'll see a 30% reduction in range. But the heat pumps on this latest generation of electric vehicles, including Teslas and the Kias, they mitigate that a lot. And you can go, there is a guy in Norway who has been testing cars in cold weather, and Norway's got cold weather, right? And sometimes you only see a 20% difference in cold in the range and charging speeds because of the cold.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Moving on from news, do you want to talk about my own personal Mein Kampf with the electric vehicles in my life? Or should we leave that for a future episode? You think you're okay?
No, we could get into that.
Okay.
Is this one right here?
Yeah, that is a Fiat 500e, and this doesn't have anything to do with rideshare. Although there might be some delivery drivers, Uber Eats and other delivery drivers that are using the Fiat 500e because you don't need a lot of miles to be a delivery driver, right, Chris?
No, you drive a lot less doing food delivery than you do rideshare.
Could you work all day doing it with a 70-mile range if you charge at lunch?
That I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I'm not in the food delivery game.
Yeah, maybe
So I don't know.
not.
I mean, Tony might be able to answer that question.
Yeah, maybe not. But the 500e was one of Fiat's compliance cars, because the more 500es that they sold in California, then the more like gas guzzlers that they could sell in California. That's why we got all these what they call compliance cars in California, and a lot of them were just based on regular ICE cars with a EV conversion. Toyota even hired Tesla to build electric RAV4s. This is back in 2011, 2012. But the 500e was a great car, so much fun to drive. It's got as much power as the Fiat 500 Abarth. And did I say that right? Abarth? Do you know about the Fiat?
I think so.
Right? Abarth was a racer, was their factory race team, the Fiat factory race team. Anyway, just in case Fiat ever finished a race. No, just kidding. A little Fiat joke. But the 500e was a great car, but they sold it for $34,000 new, but then they leased them for like $99 a month, right? They subvented the leases to make these a killer deal. My wife rented or leased two because she only needed to drive a few thousand miles a year. She just goes to the train station every morning and then drives back at night. Like that's all she needed it for. And it's a great car for that. So she leased two, and then we bought a used one because we had a lot of confidence in them. But that was a huge mistake because these things have a known issue with this component called the primary inverter module. And when one of those breaks, long story short, it's $15,000.
Ooh.
I know.
Ouches.
Ouch. And it's a known issue.
Look at that.
Yeah, and I talked to Fiat, and Stellantis is whom I talked to, and I will never buy a Stellantis product ever again. The way they just like completely, they didn't want to do jack shit for me. They had just doubled the price of this component, Chris. Do you know why they doubled the price? Yeah, they doubled the price. And it's a box. It's a little box. It's this big. It's a little plastic box. It's got like it's got some software in there. It's got a couple of little coolant things going through, and a thermostat. But it's $15,000.
You could have probably 3D print one.
You could probably 3D print one, but the thing is they program it to the car. You can't buy a used one. If you program it, if you buy a used one, you got to plug it into the car, and then you got to figure out how to reprogram the component or your car so that it'll work in there. Otherwise, that's the thing about EVs. When an EV is having problems, they write that software to make it super safe. So what is going to happen is your car is going to turn into a paperweight, sometimes in the middle of the road, and it will not move. You got to put it in neutral and tow it away, because there's no jump starting a dead electric car. Like, you're just done, unless it's the 12-volt battery, which happens sometimes. But in this case, it was a brick, and we paid 10 grand for it, and we sold it for parts for $3,800, luckily. And then we just had to buy a new car, because what are you going to do? Now, since I did that, I went online with the other forums, and there's some really passionate 500E owners, and they've figured out hacks on how to restart the module and get it working again. But I don't know if that really works. Who knows? Anyway,
I don't know. I think it comes down to the point of failure. If they can fix the point of failure, then you should be okay. But who knows?
But yeah, like, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, but Chrysler or Stellantis, and Stellantis, by the way, is what happened when Fiat bought Renault, or maybe the other way around, and they renamed it Stellantis. I don't know why. Probably so people who used to own Renaults or Fiats would be dumb enough to buy one of their crappy products again. So, boy, maybe get some hate mail. Just direct your hate mail to Nixon Library at nara.gov.
There you go.
And but they instead of fixing that problem, instead Stellantis just keeps raising the price of that part to discourage people from even trying to fix it. I mean,
oh my God.
It's and this is a car. It was a 2017. It wasn't like a 1962. It was like, it's like, we only put 2,400 miles on the thing. Anyway,
oh my God.
I know it's ridiculous, but that gave us an opportunity to feast on the tremendous value that is a used Chevy Bolt. Do we have time to talk about that, or should we leave it for another day?
Yeah, if you want to.
All right. Oh, well, this is the issues I'm having with my car. This is something we can explore in more depth in a future show, but I'm having, the battery should be 65 kilowatt hours of capacity. And in this case, I charged it all the way, and I only got 50. I was only able to use 50 of those kilowatt hours. I charged it to 100%, and then I drove it in circles in the Whole Foods parking lot until the battery was like at 0. And then I actually had to have a Tesla owner help me push it into the charging space. So I really know, like, I used every electron that battery had. And I
don't think that's supposed to be good for the batteries.
It's not. But on the other hand, they always leave some reserve in there. So you'll never actually be able to, like, drain it completely flat. There's always something in there, and then they'll just stop the car. But the dealer actually told me to do that so that I could really see exactly how much energy that battery's holding. So now I'm kind of going through this process of completely charging it and completely discharging it to see what the capacity is. And if you go to that next slide, you'll see I'm using an app called Torque Pro, and it's Android only, but there's also apps for iPhones. This works with an OBD reader, a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi OBD reader. And by the way, if you don't know what an OBD reader is, it's a little black box that plugs into a little port next to your fuse boxes in your car, and it can read all the trouble codes. It can actually read all the information from all the sensors in your car. My God, do you know how many sensors a Chevy Bolt has in it, Chris?
I'm gonna say 1,234.
I mean, I don't even know. Maybe. Do you know how many pages the factory shop manual is for a Chevy Bolt is? How many pages? Take a guess.
Oh, the shop manual could be. I mean, normal, a regular ice powered is like, it could be 1,200 pages.
8,000 pages on the PDF.
Holy shit!
It's insane. It's insane how many procedures there are for that car. Electric vehicles, they have a third the number of parts as a gasoline car, but man, the problems that you could have with those things are manifold, which is why I say,
Here's a good question for you. What EV do
oh,
you suggest for food delivery?
well, it depends on
Just whatever works for you.
how many miles are you driving a day? You know,
Yep.
that's I don't know anything about food delivery. I think different food delivery drivers are going to have different strategies, just like Uber and Lyft drivers. So
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
know.
it comes down to your market, how often you're going out.
Mhm,
It's going to depend on a lot of things. So you want to make sure you get the right car that's got the right range for you.
mhm,
And then, what doesn't break the bank.
mhm. I mean, I would say that if you're not spending that much money on gasoline or car maintenance, then don't buy an EV, even for food delivery. You know, if you have like an ideological or personal reason that you want to buy an EV, then look for something that's affordable. And my wife and I, there's another segue. So my wife needed a new car. I had a first generation Bolt, and I really liked it. So I went and looked for the Bolts that are out on the market right now, and these things are ranging from $15,000 to $25,000. And the nice thing is, if you buy one of these first generation Bolts, and these are the Bolts that were built between 2017 and 2021, or even early 22, like my car, these every single one of them is going to either have a new or reconditioned battery in it, and that battery warranty is going to start from when the new battery was put into service. And another nice thing about GM electric vehicles is the battery warranty covers the components that work with the battery. And that includes the motor, that includes all those inverter modules, all those little hundreds and hundreds of little modules all over that car. And those are definitely good things to have covered, because they're going to fail. They're going to fail,
Mhm.
you know, and you're not going to be able to fix it yourself. I'm sorry. You need so many special tools. Some of these modules are like inside the battery box itself. And, an EV, it's not like you flip the car over and then like you have to find a little Phillips screwdriver and like unscrew the little battery door, and then put the new battery in. You need to put the thing on a lift, and, there's 36 bolts, and then there's connectors. Then there's a special procedure that you need to do before you touch anything electric, because this isn't a 12-volt electrical system, folks. This is a
Yep.
300-volt electrical system. If you fuck up when you're working on a 300-volt electrical system,
You're going to be zapped like
you're
nobody's
not
business.
you're not gonna have to worry about your nose hair. Let's just put it that way. Like
You're not going to have to worry about a lot because you won't be.
you will. The only thing you'll be good for is like to be served with like a dipping sauce, because
Yep.
you're going to be
Because
deep
you're going to be
fried.
burnt.
Yep, you're going to be crispy critter. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
so some of these components are like buried in these things. It's a 10-hour job for a trained mechanic to to swap these things out. So the bolt we bought for $19,500, is under warranty till the battery is under warranty till 2030, and
Oh,
the
nice.
associated components are under warranty until 2027. So
Well, that's nice.
yeah, I mean, I don't think we're
So
gonna
that,
have the car that long.
yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, at least that'll keep you going,
Yeah,
kind of give peace of mind there. So that's
Stellantis.
always
So
nice.
Fiat, the only company that didn't cover ancillary components along with the battery. So that
Uh,
warranty expired 2 years ago,
you're
and
fired, Fiat.
yeah, no more, never again.
Well, speaking of,
Frunk shrimp, Frunk shrimp. Oh,
what,
I had a news story about how there's a solar farm in China, and it combines harvesting solar energy, and the solar. It's kind of cool because the solar panels are dual sided, and then it's over this
Mhm.
huge salt flat. So it's like, I don't know, like 3 square miles, but in addition to producing enough energy for like 15,000 or 150,000 homes, it also produces salt. It's a salt flat, and shrimp. And then
Yeah, I saw
the
that.
solar panels are two sided, so that they're also collecting sunlight from the reflection off the water, which I thought
Oh, nice.
was a pretty clever little touch. So now it all makes
I
sense.
saw that. It's like a 3-in-1 system, they're calling it,
So
which
it
is
all
pretty
makes
cool.
sense. It all makes sense why you would want to serve shrimp out of the trunk of your EV.
Yeah. Now, did you see like they're doing certain agro farming with the solar power on top of it? So they'll have like the solar panels, but they're spaced out enough, and then they're up higher where they can actually do
Yeah.
certain crops underneath it. I think they're doing that in like Denmark and different areas,
I mean,
which is pretty cool.
it's a great idea because it allows farmers to, extract more value from their land and give them less opportunity to sell to developers and encourage urban sprawl.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's a win on so many levels in my mind. Some of our viewers might like urban sprawl because we love
Greg,
traffic
thanks for
jams.
becoming a new member. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Oh man, everyone in the comments, I just love that you guys are there and giving us a healthy debate. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
We got
I'm having a good time.
a couple of comments that we'll go over that you put in, and then we'll wrap it up. So
Okay.
if you want to go here,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Daniel. Oh yeah, hey, Daniel's one of our members from the EV group. He is a frequent contributor there and a great guy to listen to, very knowledgeable. And he's correct about GM might not replace all the batteries, but instead do a software update. But
uh-huh.
But the good news is that at least those batteries, if they don't have an extended warranty, at least you're assured that they won't catch fire. But also, you'll be able to use the full range.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So here's another one of our EV group members asking about how do you guard against being offered a trip that'll exceed your range? Well, anyone can answer that question, right, Chris?
Don't accept it.
Don't accept it, Jay. Don't accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think that the thing with that though is I think it depends too on the trip. So let's say it's a long
Wait,
trip.
why is she saying I don't see a way to determine the length of the trip before or even after I accept? How is she
It
saying that?
depends on,
Are there markets where they're
you
still
know,
not doing upfront pricing?
yeah, it depends on where. Like
Really?
New Jersey doesn't have it. New
What?
Jersey, yeah, they don't have upfront. There's a lot of places that actually still don't have it.
Really?
Why, I don't
Wow.
know. I mean, lucky them though, because
I didn't know that.
they're still getting time and distance, so good for them. But
Wow.
yeah, some people won't be able to see where they're going, so that
Jeez.
is the
Well,
downfall. So
well,
it's
in that case, Jay Allison, I think you have to use your destination filters or your area filter. If you have that feature, both Lyft and Uber have area and destination filters. So and then also you have
honestly,
to, yeah.
honestly, the EV might not be the best solution for this particular area, because if you're in a small city surrounded by a rural community, you're not going to have a lot of charging stations. You're not going to have, it
Yeah.
won't be an easier feat. You might have to charge at home.
Mhm.
The on the flip side, though, if you're close to a city or if you can commute to a city, that's going to be probably much better, because then you can drive to the city,
Mhm.
charge there, do your work there. You're probably going to have a lot more business. You're probably going to make a lot more money there. It just depends. Unfortunately, oh, there I see at the bottom we don't have many chargers in Maine.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
depending on where in Maine, you're not going to be. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough. I mean, something like that. Uh, one of those things I would say is, if you don't see where they're going, I would call up the passenger and ask their destination and see how far it is, because you have an EV and you don't want to go beyond the range. Otherwise,
Oh,
you could
Uber
run into
says you can't
issues.
do that though, right?
Uber says that you can't discriminate against where they're going, but if you don't have the charge to go there, that's a different story.
Sure.
So again, it's how you question it. So I would personally call up the passenger and say, "Hey, look, I'm trying to figure out exactly where you're going. I just need to make sure that I have enough juice in the tank to be able to get there." And then in that case, you'd be able to see what would happen.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
at least give you a little bit more. I don't know where in Maine you are. I mean, you could be in the northern tip. If
Hmm.
there, like I say, if there's a city nearby that you could potentially go to, that might be another option.
Okay.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that or not, but
Okay. No, that seems pretty sensible to me. Let's see. We got this is one of our moderators and admins in our EV group, Adam Nelson. He is in Australia, in the southern Australia there near Melbourne, I think.
Mhm.
And he
Or
drives.
shaving. Uh-oh.
Yep. Yeah, so we covered the shaving, and we're going to be covering that more. But I wanted to put that on there to show that it's not just American EV drivers. Uber's trying to screw
Uh,
over. But
so they're
look, they
trying to
actually,
nickel and dime, huh?
yeah. But then they all paid him back some dough there. So we'll have Adam on
That's good.
in a future show. We talk more about EV driving in Australia, in the land
Yeah,
of
that'd
Oz.
be interesting, especially Uber and all that good stuff. Cora, what's going on?
And then
There's
another.
somebody
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Anderson. One of the things, if you reached out to Harry, um, I would say just reach out to Gabe.
Yeah.
So then that way, I can get a little bit more information for you or from you.
Yeah, I'll call him. He can also reach me through. I'm also on LinkedIn. Just saying.
Yep. We're in a connected world, so everybody can get hold of pretty much everybody. So, and then you got
Uh,
Arian. I'm a reporter with Wired, hoping to speak as San Francisco area drivers this week. Just sounds like you needed to email them, huh?
yeah. Well, I posted that one there because Arian, she's talked to Sergio. She's covered a lot of the stuff. Uh,
Mhm.
a lot of other rideshare stuff. She works for Wired, and so she's a tech reporter. But she is looking into the autonomous vehicles, and that's definitely an intersection between rideshare and electric vehicles, right? Because
Oh
the
yeah, for
autonomous
sure.
vehicles are all electric for some reason, and this is something that has been kind of the cornerstone of Uber and Lyft's business model since the very early days. Oh, at some point it's gonna be all autonomous vehicles, and we're gonna all be billionaires, giving each other autonomous rides. So here's where the rubber meets the road, and strangely, it's not Uber or Lyft's autonomous vehicle departments because those have been disbanded many years ago. But GM owns Cruise and Google owns Waymo, and those are the two leading autonomous vehicle companies right now. And Cruise has been giving fully autonomous rides to passengers for about a year now. And when I
Mhm.
go driving in San Francisco, I see these things just like wandering all over the place. And it is like being in an insane asylum, and you just see like these kind of just these vacant, it's where you just see people with vacant stares just kind of shambling around in their slippers and
Oh yeah,
robes.
on Tuesday we had a fun little thing with the robots there. Those ones, not the delivery that was another thing. But with these Cruise and Waymos with the little unicorn. So you put the
Putting
cone
the
on it and just disables them. So they'll
putting
sit
the cone
wherever
on
they
it.
are. They just won't move.
I want to actually, I had an idea to inflate a bunch of inflatable sex dolls, and
Oh
and then
boy.
and then throw them at the EVs as like from in between two parked cars, just like fling the sex doll out at the autonomous vehicle to see, and so it bounces
Yeah,
off the
but
hood to see what it
here's
does.
the problem. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Make sure that there are no other cars because
Right,
that car will probably it'll either stop.
right.
So if you got somebody behind it that's not paying attention, it just slams on its
Yep,
brakes,
yep.
then they're going to get rear-ended.
And I tell you,
Or
I
if it decides to go one way or the other, it could go into a parked car or it could go into an oncoming car. So yeah, just be
I
careful with that.
I pulled out in front of one of these AVs on Haight Street in San Francisco, and it didn't slow down, brake, or stop, or even notice me pull out in front of it. Um, and yeah, I had to kind of swerve so it wouldn't hit me. And these things just don't drive like people, and we either have to adjust to them or they have to develop a much higher level of like consciousness to be able to interact safely with people. Like they will really be like thinking, feeling beings, and like I'm like, why do we want to
This is what I
create?
said to Sergio. I said, you're only going to have one of two options. You're only either going to have all AVs on the road that have sensors in the road and all that stuff, so they know what's going on, and it's some sort of communication. Or you're going to have you can't have them on the road, because when you're driving, because there's things happening, what's going on, there's all of these things that an EV can't know. Like I said, I have a 22 Pilot, so it has that stupid brake thing that says, "Hey, brake."
Mhm.
It's like, dude, we're veering, like we're literally, there's a turn coming up that I'm about to turn. There's a car in the other lane coming to me, on the opposite side of the road, and it's telling me to brake, and it's like, no, you're stupid, stop. So it's like these systems that are in place don't have the same capabilities that you and I or any other person
No,
has when it comes to this. So yeah, when it comes
no.
to, people on the road sharing it with AVs, or AVs sharing the road with people, it's just not going to work. I don't see that happening right now.
I mean, think about when you're driving, and I'm asking all our viewers and readers and posters to think about this. When you're driving around a dense urban city, not just cruise along the freeway, but when you're in a dense urban area with a lot of people around, a lot of other drivers, bicyclists, all kinds of stuff, um, think count how many times you make eye contact with another road user, a bicyclist or a driver, delivery guy, someone
Mhm.
running across the street. Think how many times you make eye contact with them, and then you have like this connection as a human being, like, oh, this person wants to do this person wants to do that. You wave them on, you thank them, you do all that stuff. How is a robot going to have those interactions? And I'm sure they can program it to do something, but it'll never have a real understanding of what it's like to be human. And it sounds trivial, but I think it's a really important part of driving.
Yeah. And like I said, the only way it won't is if you have an entire area that is just AV. And again, they have those sensors, so it knows where it's going, the road maintenance crews or whatever are on there, whatever it might be. So then that way it's a lot more predictable for those cars. Because right now we're
Sure.
seeing the craziest things that we're even highlighting on Show Me the Money Club, when it comes to these AVs and what you do. And like I said, just the latest one was putting the cone on it and have them completely disabled. So I think that's hilarious, and I love that idea. So I think that's what you should do. You should just go out, stand in front of it, let it stop, take a cone, stick it on its head,
Or
and
a
walk
sex
away.
doll, or
That too.
just place this sex doll, put her in clothes, dress her up in a nice little outfit so that you don't offend anybody. And then
But then
just
when it
set
goes,
her gently on the hood.
oh no, oh
You
no.
can't do anything about their expression because
No, it's
function.
always shocked to see you.
Form follows function, Chris.
All right. Well, let's go to this last comment too. Sandra wrote, lately feeling the need for a dash camera. Read the article on the RideShare Guy about using them. What camera do you use? Why? What are the pros and cons? Any tips, do's, don'ts you can share? How long you keep the footage if you're not using the cloud? So Sandra, if you're watching this, there's a couple of things that I'll say here. First, we always recommend Display Ride dash camera because they have a special with us. That's awesome because of our
Got it.
Show Me the Money Club viewers, which will extend to. If you put RSG20 into the checkout with that, it'll save you 20%. So you get it for $20 instead of 25. What's nice about those is it records forward facing, interior facing. It has a lot of different functionality, but it'll also upload right to the cloud. So in the event something happens, you have that footage there. So Sergio just interviewed somebody, on Behind the Wheel that's coming out in a couple of weeks, of a driver who is carjacked. They took the dash camera and threw it out, but luckily it went right near him, so he was able to get that. This is a big story in Chicago, that had happened. So that's one thing. But in the event that it breaks, or you can't get the footage, or you don't know where the dash camera is,
Yeah,
it's already uploaded to the cloud. So that's a
those
good thing.
memory cards. Can I tell you, I've had at least 3 incidents that I wanted to record on my dash cam, and then you pull the memory card out and you plug it into your computer, and it's like files corrupted, and like,
Yep,
sorry,
that
like,
happens too. So that's something you got to watch out for, when it
and are
comes
you
down
gonna
to
are
it.
you and
But
I mean, this could be like your livelihood, or
oh yeah,
or
people
maybe
are getting into accidents. And there was somebody that we highlighted yesterday. They have the display ride dash camera. They get in an accident. It was a felony hit and run from another person that was able to get them. So yeah, those are good things to have. If you're looking for just a regular dash camera, a regular dash camera is going to be great as long as it's forward facing, interior facing. I mean, if you get the third channel out the rear, that's going to be good in the event of accidents or anything like that, especially maybe if you drive in San Francisco or Phoenix where there's these AV vehicles that are out there. You might need more protection. You might need 2 more channels on either side as well too. But yeah, I mean, something that's definitely going to be forward facing and interior facing is key. Something, if you're driving at night, you're going to want something with infrared. If you just drive during the day, then that really won't matter. I mean, you could do something like a used GoPro. You could do something like an X3 from Insta360. You could even get one of the new Go 3s from Insta360. I have both of those. They work great.
The GoPros?
I don't use them for dash cameras. No, I have the X3 Insta360,
Okay.
the Go 3 that just came out.
Okay.
I have a GoPro too.
Yeah, but
GoPro
you can't.
4.
Yeah, they don't make good dash cams because you can't set them to loop, right?
No, but Instas, the Insta ones that you can.
Yeah.
So Go 3 can be a good dash camera, but again, it's not something for at night. So if you want something that's a dedicated dash camera, definitely get something that's dedicated. And it just depends. Like I say, if you're driving at night, get that infrared. We do like the display ride. Craig even put in there, display ride is the only way to go. And yeah, with that, that cloud recording, that is one of the key features of that. It goes right to the cloud. So in the event of anything, it's stored. If somebody tries carjacking you, hey, guess what? Their face is on the camera. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter if they steal the dash camera with the car. You got that right there with it. So
and there's a monthly fee.
Definitely good.
There's a monthly fee,
Yeah.
but I feel like that monthly fee is like, you're going to be buying a new dash cam every year or two anyway, so I don't think you'll save that much money.
Not only
buying your own
that,
dash cam.
it's tax deductible because
Ooh.
it's a business expense
Ooh.
because you're going out there to make money. So it's just one of those things. Save that monthly bill, but yeah, you can put it into your taxes.
If you're itemizing
Absolutely.
rather than mileage. Yeah.
I mean, if you're an independent contractor, you should be itemizing.
Mhm.
100% because you get you can claim your miles, you can claim your car maintenance, you can claim your cell phone bill, or like portions of them, and percentages. Home office, you can claim part of your house. You definitely should have a CPA. If you don't, just to help you with these taxes, when it comes down to it. I mean, you could go online and use some of these online services, but they're not going to be anywhere near as thorough as like a CPA or somebody to do that. But yeah, all those things are going to be beneficial. So yeah, I definitely recommend display ride, just because several of the factors, but mostly because of that cloud recording. In the
And
event happens.
and we're not even being paid by Display Ride for this.
No. I mean, I have. Let's see. I have the van. Actually, I have the Van True N4 right here.
Nice.
I have the N2 Pro. Oh no, that's outside. I have the N2 Pro. I have a Vivo. So I have a few different dash cameras. When it comes down to it, I mean, because I have those already, and I've had companies reach out to me to give them. I haven't gotten the display ride, but maybe Display Ride can reach out and say, "Oh, here you go, Chris. Here's a display ride," and then I'll rock the display ride.
I got it in my car. Been using it for a couple months.
Nice.
Yeah, works good.
Awesome.
Works good.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else, man?
What else we got? I think we left a lot of stuff, but for future episodes. But I think I don't know. I feel good. Do you think we really need your feedback and questions and participation? If you want to be a guest on the show, if you want to find out more about EVs, if you have any kind of question or criticism or comments, not too much criticism, but we really want to hear from you, because this show is a resource, like everything on RideShare Guy. This show is a resource for you. So please reach out to us. g@token@gmail is my email. Chris@therideshareguy.com is how you reach Chris.
Yep. And yeah, basically, I mean, this was the first episode getting out there. We're going to do this monthly. So it's going to be the second Monday, or I mean, second Thursday. I don't know why I got Monday in the mind. I just saw something that said Monday. It's the second Thursday of the month. So the next one will be in August. Left that, what did Tony just say? Left was
Left was the person who asked
in New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm not sure what. Okay.
Well,
I don't know what.
Just want to put this out there. Uber has a way to connect your live battery info so you don't get rides that will take you beyond range. I haven't personally used it though. Wow. Driven Dad, if you have a link to that information and you want to post it to the Facebook group or to the comments below, we would love to check that out and see what's going on there. That is a very interesting thing that I would like to find out more about. I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, and I'm sure our main driver would definitely love that too. So knowing that, and at least where they won't have any issue getting rides that will go beyond the range. So that's good. But yeah, basically what we're going to do. Okay, great. Yeah, he'll send it to me and then I can send it to you too. Yeah, basically what we're going to do, we'll be back next month in August going over. We're going to definitely sharpen up our skills for the show, for the format, and get a lot more good information, especially those who are driving, whether it's Uber, Lyft, food delivery. We're going to be talking about different stuff like that, kind of what's going on within the EV arena, different legislation that might be happening, or incentives that might be happening as well. What incentives are maybe coming or changing from Uber and Lyft, different things there. We'll probably have a healthy little debate when it comes to EVs or others in the thing, or common misconceptions. It's fun to play devil's advocate, so we will be doing that. And Abe, why don't you send us out?
Making that EV money. I can't remember how it is. That's a that song is Easy Money. It's a King Crimson.
Yeah.
Right? Which I never heard of King Crimson before I looked that up.
No, I know Easy Money.
That easy money. I'm screwed up.
All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day. Enjoy. Make sure you subscribe if you're not to the channel already. Obviously, we're on more channels than just YouTube. We're on LinkedIn right now, Twitter, Rumble, Facebook, and I think maybe anything else. I'm not sure. Make sure you subscribe. Definitely on the YouTube channel. We got great content coming out. Live Tuesday, next Tuesday, Show Me the Money Club with myself and Sergio. Money Hungry on Wednesday with Kim and Zach for food delivery. And we'll see you next month on EV Money.